Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talks MLB Prizepicks and DFS Plays of the Day. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by the one and only Josh Crash Davis on this wonderful Tuesday, April the 19th, 2022. How are you, Josh?
Doing well, Coach. We had a solid night, I would say, last night in our baseball.
Yeah.
We cashed, so that's the first goal always. So hopefully we can build on that tonight and take something down, especially with the narrative that we're looking at. You want to talk a little bit about that?
The narrative? You mean me turning 40 years old?
40 years old, yeah. We're the same
I'm sticking with that. I'm sticking with it, man. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah.
But the birthday narrative is today. So, if you believe in narratives, then our picks should be, Johnny on the money here because it is my birthday. So, not sharing the specific number, but I'm going with 40 as the over-under. And I know all of our listeners right now are saying, oh, under 40 for sure.
Definitely under.
Yeah, fun stuff yesterday. I was so pumped up because I got to give you some noise over, of course, your main man, Christian Yelich. I had him on my lineup. So in our coaches chat, which isn't in the main chat, I had to take heat from Mr. Crash here saying I was jinxing his man Yelich. And do you want to tell the people that happened to miss it, what Christian did yesterday?
He hit a grand slam. Not only his first home run of the year, but he hit a grand slam. Yeah.
Grand salami. And that was, so take that, put that in your pipe and smoke it, Mr. Crash, for the noise I got.
Yeah, they walked Willy Adames so they could pitch to Yelich, and they didn't pull their starter because they had a lefty. They had Dylan Peters warming up in the bullpen, and the Brewers announcers were like, I wonder if they're going to, take him out here and put in Peters, but they didn't. And then, Yelich made him pay.
I love it. That is beautiful. And also yesterday I was fired up too. The big bold Freddie Freeman, first home run for the Lakers. You can tell I'm basketball minded for the Dodgers. And I was fired up on that one too. So it was a good baseball day. I'm starting to get juiced up. This, I remember last year on my birthday for our listeners and our members that were part of the team last year, we had some nice cash in the NBA done on my birthday last year, but I had a $3,000 takedown in MLB on my birthday, talking the same noise I am now about birthday narratives. So why not today as well,
Yeah, definitely.
Let's get that done. Well, first of all, real quick, before we dive in, we've got a massive schedule, but if you've been following our baseball pods every day, we've decided instead of making it a 2-hour podcast where we go over every game, or we just give a little, blurb to each, guy, what we're trying to do is really concise it down to something that's going to help you build, especially your core. So we review pitchers, prize picks, BVP stacks, and HR calls each day. This way it gives you a good feel for the slate. Where we talk about the games, if there's any weather issues, and we will hopefully get you to the point where, once the day goes on, you can take this information and build some winning lineups. So we've had a great response so far, a lot of Twitter responses. If you want to let us know what you think, we're at DFS Coach Talk on Twitter. Crash is at JP Davis 1982, and I am at Joe Sarvati. Also on YouTube here, if you're checking it out and watching it, you can put a little comment in there. We'll be jumping in as the podcast premieres to answer any questions also. So, all right, man, we're diving into this sucker. We've got like 9 million games. So why don't you sort of set the stage here of how many games are going on, what we're covering on this podcast.
So we have on FanDuel and Yahoo, we have a 10-game slate. And then on DraftKings, it's going to be an 11-game slate. They have the early game. It's one of those doubleheader games. I can't remember which one right now, but one of those, I think game 2 between Washington and Arizona is who it was. But anyway, so they have 11 games on DraftKings and then 10 on FanDuel and Yahoo. And that slate's going to start at 7:05 Eastern, and we really don't have any weather issues, so that's a really good thing. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome that we don't have weather problems with all these games. You would think we would, but it looks like they're all going to play as of right now.
Right.
So
Yep.
we'll
Looks like
take
we're going
that.
to be in the clear for sure.
I love it.
Some
All
cool
right.
temperatures, but yeah.
Yeah, there'll be some cool temperatures, and you got to take that into consideration. But the fact that it's dry is big, no doubt.
That's a big thing in April, especially.
Definitely. You know, when we go through these today, and obviously we mix our prize picks into it as well. I have two pitchers, one I like and one I dislike, that I'm going to throw into the mix today. So I'm switching from my hitters yesterday to my pitchers today. Speaking of that, should we put the double whammy jammy he's dead to us on the Clayton Kershaw thing?
Oh my gosh, we cannot figure him out. You know, we had the fate of him last week, and he goes off for a 7-game shutout, perfect game, and then last night he's having a decent start, and then he gives up 4 runs in the 6th inning. So, yeah, it's hard to figure him out.
Well, he's saying he's retiring at the end of the year, and in coach talk circles, he's retired right now, Mr. Kershaw.
Yeah, he's a tricky one for sure. Do you want to go ahead and start then with your top player? Or do you want me to start, or how do you want to do this?
Go ahead. I don't want to steal your thunder. You're our baseball man, so let's hear all your pitching prowess, and then if I happen to have the opposite side, I'll pretend like I didn't have it.
Okay. So my top pitcher is going to be Corbin Burns. He's 10-8 on FanDuel, 10-5 on DK. He has a pretty good matchup here against the Pirates. They struggled against Eric Lauer last night, and they're really built to be better against left-handed pitchers. So I think that Burns has a favorable matchup. Colin Moran is somebody that's given them trouble in the past and given Burns trouble, and he's no longer on the team. He's with the Cincinnati Reds now.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a good matchup for Burns. And the other reason that I like Burns is because the other top pitchers on this slate have some pretty tough matchups. Joe Musgrove is more expensive than Burns, and guys like Joey Votto, Mike Moustakas, Nick Senzel have had some success against him. Walker Buehler has the Braves, who Kershaw, as we mentioned, struggled with a little bit last night. And then Robbie Ray has the Texas Rangers, who, as we have mentioned several times on our show, have a much better offensive roster now. And I think that, he could struggle a little bit with them. So that kind of left me with Burns, just a process of elimination, basically. But, you could go to a Robbie Ray or somebody like that. I just prefer Burns against the Pirates.
Yeah, I think Burns is a great play. I think he's going to be pretty chalky, but he deserves to be in that matchup. I mean, it sits really well for him. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I used to play Moran against Burns all the time, because I think, I don't know how many homers he hit off him last year, but it was like at least 3, I believe. But I didn't pull the number, but I know that if he didn't hit a homer, he'd drive some in the gaps against him. And that is a big thing to not have him in that lineup. And Pittsburgh's lineup is pretty weak. They are scrappy, and I like that they play hard, but it's not a good lineup.
Yeah, for sure.
Mr. Burns should coast.
He should.
Yeah.
This is baseball, so you never know.
You never know. So, and then as far as your value guy?
Well, I was going to see what your top pitcher.
Oh, you want my top play? It's Max Fried.
Okay.
I know he's pitching against the Dodgers, but that's fine with me. I like the Dodgers are always one of the biggest stacked teams. I just think Max settles in. The first start wasn't as great as he would have liked to for it to go. He's obviously a guy that can step up, as he showed in the World Series last year. And I think he'll settle in here. And I really like the thing that I like most about him. I'll mix them both in. I like Fried as a DFS play. And my favorite prize picks play for pitching is Max Fried over 4.5 strikeouts. The Dodgers can hit the daylights out of the ball, but they do have a lot of strikeout guys as well. Yeah. So I think, I feel he gets a good 6 innings in this game, good 6-7 strikeouts. That's what I'm looking for from Max Fried today.
Okay. I can see that. That's definitely reasonable. My value play is going to be Cole Irvin. He's 7,100 on FanDuel, 6,300 on DK at home against the Baltimore Orioles, who, they were okay last night. They struck out 5 times against Frankie Montas, and we had some props and stuff where we thought he was going to get more strikeouts than that and do a little bit better than he did. But it's kind of similar to what I said with Corbin Burns. The value options that you have here, they're just not really that great. You've got Chris Archer at Kansas City and Yusei Kikuchi at Boston and stuff like that. And I just don't really want to go there. Even a Kyle Gibson at Colorado wouldn't necessarily be a value play, but he's a little bit cheaper than the other top options. And I don't want to go there either because the Rockies have been playing very solid baseball. And the only main bat that's given Irvin any kind of trouble against Baltimore in the past has been Cedric Mullins. So if he can get around him, then and not let Baltimore get off to a strong start, then I think Irvin will be a fine play at 7,100 on FanDuel and 6,300 on DK.
Yeah, it's reasonable. I'll tell you, in building some lineups, I had a hell of a time with an SP2. There are guys that can do well, decent ceilings, but they also have like negative point floors. So
right.
Very tough today. If you go and pay up for 2 pitchers, it does make it bargain basement on the hitter. So it's hard to do that. But you also don't want to take your SP2 that is minus, 7, and then you're totally screwed. So I have some homework to do there. I may be tapping on your shoulder because I don't feel good about any of them right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough slate as far as the pitching goes once you get past those top options.
Yep.
And then my fade pitcher is going to be Walker Buehler. He's 9,700 on FanDuel, 10,700 on DK. He's the most expensive pitcher on DK. Going up against the Braves, who were able to get to Kershaw a little bit last night. They scored 4 runs against him. He's had 2 average starts so far this year against the Reds, and then that was at home in LA. And then he played the Rockies in Coors, which that's not that big of a deal. But the start against the Reds is a little bit concerning to me, especially at his price. And so I'm going to be fading Walker Buehler tonight.
That is a contrarian pick. I love your fade pitcher is always like one of the top 3 price guys. I love it. And Buehler always gets a lot of ownership. There's no question, but I think it makes sense. It's gutsy. My second play, and it doubles as my other baseball choice today for both Prizepicks and DFS, is I'm going against Nathan Eovaldi. I think that against Toronto, Toronto's hit him before. I think a lot of people like the way Eovaldi start the season, his arms live. I think you're going to have people going that direction, or at least just staying away for it completely. But I really want to go against him. So I'm going under 26.5 fantasy score for Nathan Eovaldi on Prizepicks. I think that's a pretty aggressive number. I mean, even if he has a decent game and gets to 22, 23, you're still good. And I don't particularly think he even gets to that. I think Toronto gets to him here. And, that's somebody that I'm going to stack a little bit against, and I'll be playing that play on Prizepicks.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to get a lot of strikeouts most likely because Toronto doesn't strike out. And if he allows 3 runs, he's not going to get there, even with a win. So I like that call. Yeah.
And I think he'll give up a bomb or 2. It's just the question is, are there going to be people on base? Then you're looking at a whole different scenario there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. My Prizepicks play is going to be Joey Votto over 4.5 fantasy score. He's hit 389 against Joe Musgrove with 7 hits and 18 at-bats with 3 doubles and 2 home runs in his 7 hits. And so I feel like 4.5 is pretty low for a guy like Joey Votto in a favorable matchup. He's kind of due. He hasn't had a good game in a while, so I kind of feel like he's just kind of due to have that good game.
Well, thanks for stealing my only other thing today, which was my BVP play.
Oh,
you just read them all out. It's Joey Votto.
At least we're on the same page.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I know he's not coming out of the gate and he doesn't have the same hitters around him. There's lots of reasons why, but that BVP is hard to ignore. So Votto at his price, which is reasonable, is my BVP play. So I like your prize picks play. You have a BVP better than Joey Votto?
I wouldn't necessarily say better. It's similar to Joey Votto, but he's actually cheaper than Joey Votto, and it's the same team. It's Mike Moustakas. He's 2,200 on FanDuel, 2,100 on DK, so almost min price on both sites. But he's hitting 400 against Joe Musgrove with 4 hits, including 3 home runs. So with 4 hits, 3 of them have been home runs. So I definitely like Moustakas here at that price, especially. You know, yesterday we had Jared Walsh, who went 7 for 11 against Garcia, and then he went 0 for 4. So who knows? But yeah, I like Moustakas here.
I'll tell you, a lot of people are going to be on Musgrove too. And if we have some of this BVP staring him right in the face, maybe it's not the best spot for Musgrove for those that are looking to play him as well.
Yeah, and I looked at Musgrove too. He's the most expensive pitcher on FanDuel. So yeah, he'll probably definitely see some ownership. You know, people are going to think going up against the Reds, but if they look at the numbers, they've hit him pretty well. So Nick Senzel's another guy that's hit him. So yeah, they have some guys.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, I've said it all the time in all the sports, but especially baseball, it seems like the fades of those higher owned guys or pricier guys that are owned, you fade those guys and they don't do well, you're sitting pretty. It's like a double whammy plus for you. So that's certainly something to look at. You know, I told you my bizarre stack today, you know, with my guys. So we'll see if you know, if Toronto can be a stack that's going to get it done for me in a spot where they're not going to be very popular. But when you can grab a stack that low ownership or mid to low ownership, you're in pretty good shape. So that's my stack. What do you have?
Yeah, so I'm looking at a stack that I wish I would have played last night. It's the Houston Astros. You know, I mentioned that Michael Lorenzo was my fade yesterday.
Right.
And I didn't stack the Astros against him, which that's another thing. When you do those fades like that, you want to stack against those guys.
100%.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So the Astros have 5 bats that have hit near 300 or better against Sandoval. And no other team has that kind of numbers against a pitcher on the slate. So I like the Astros here again. I'm going to look at Kyle Tucker probably the most. He has 4 hits and 6 at-bats with 2 home runs against Sandoval. I like Yordan Alvarez again. I like Yuli Gurriel and Alex Bregman. That would be the 4 that I like the most from Houston. I will say Jose Altuve is 0 for 10 against Sandoval, so maybe he's due, or maybe we should just avoid him. But one of those 2 things is going to be the key here. So.
And I would think, I haven't seen, you know, the ownership numbers yet, but I would think the Astros will be one of the chalkier stacks.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Because some of the prices are fair enough, and you know, coming out hot from yesterday, they should be strong. They really should. I'll definitely have some ownership with those guys.
Yeah. My GPP stack is going to be the one I've mentioned several times already in the show, and that's the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
They're very cheap, and they have some bats that have had a lot of success against Musgrove. So we can go ahead and pair them up with Corbin Burns and some of those Astros bats. And so I like the Reds, just kind of mixing them and matching them in both my cash and my GPPs.
It's going to be exciting because if the Reds do come through, they're going to be fairly low owned, and it's going to double trump all the Musgrove ownership. So we'll know where we stand pretty quick in that one for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. How about your HR call of the day?
Yeah, my home run call, I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker. He's 3,300 on FanDuel, 5,100 on DK. He just missed a home run last night, and as I mentioned, he's hitting 667 against Sandoval with 4 hits and 6 at-bats with 2 home runs. He hasn't hit a home run since the second game of the year, and like I said, he almost hit one last night, so I think he does get one tonight.
Excellent. And I'm going with Joltin' Joey Votto. And
nice.
Jolton's not really his nickname. I just gave it to him, and I'm allowed to do that because it's my birthday. I can call him whatever I want.
Exactly.
Jumping Joey Votto. How's that?
Joey Votto.
So I like Joey Votto, line drive homer, zip out of here in like 5 seconds, gone.
Right.
So that's the plan.
I like it.
That is it.
Against Jumping Joe Musgrove. I remember you saying that last year.
I did say Jumping Joe Musgrove. You're right. So I have to stick with Joltin' Joe Votto. So, and it's Joe Sarvati's birth. So we got Joe's. It's wild. I mean, if you've ever played a narrative, there's the triple header right there. Joe, all the way around. So it'll probably be more like Joe Musgrove hits Homer Simpson in the head, where the GIF where Simpson falls over.
Yeah.
That would be my luck there. So
yeah, Musgrove does a perfect game.
Yeah, exactly. Striking out Votto every plate appearance. Now
right.
We're going double reverse. Hey, I got Christian Yelich for you in yesterday.
You did.
So let's get this in today.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Anything else on your front?
Christian Yelich. He's 2,900 on FanDuel. Way too cheap for me.
Okay. Chase that grand slam. It's okay.
I'm not chasing the grand slam. He's got good numbers against JT Brubaker. So.
I don't understand why they didn't raise his price.
Makes no
why
sense.
It's that low to begin with.
He's 4,800 on DK. So definitely, second thoughts about him on DK, but 2,900. I mean, even if you just want to plug him in to help your lineup construction, I think it's worth it.
It's 100% mispriced. He's somewhat of a free square, but we know what free squares have done to us in the past. So you proceed with caution, but that price is ridiculous. So
it really is.
All right, my man, that is it. Let's get this out there for the people, and we hope you all have a fantastic day. I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com, sign up with the promo code Coach Talk. They will match you dollar for dollar for that first $100 deposit, and you can get after it in all the sports. And if you want to join us, great time to join us. All this NBA action, all the MLB action, PGA as well, coming up on Thursday. And this is the stretch. We were talking about it before the pod. I had that 3K takedown of MLB on my birthday last year. And then 3 weeks later, 10 or 15K takedown. Again, that's all, recorded on there on our podcasts and everything back from last year. And we got super hot in the NBA playoffs too. So this is the time to come aboard, give us a try. Just go to dfscoachtalk.com and you can sign up right there for whatever you like. And you'll be in our Discord within a minute and we'll get you up to date on everything from today. Any final words, Mr. Crash?
No, let's just crush it. Like I said, we're going to build off of last night. We had some smaller wins and we're going to turn them into some bigger wins tonight. And it's your birthday, so heck, we got to do well.
Got to. There's no other option for sure. All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Give us a thumbs up, a little comment on the way out. We'd really appreciate that. Have a fantastic day. Good luck with some of these takedowns, and we'll be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in MLB DFS and Prize Picks.